Hello YouTube and welcome to another CodeSwag video. In this video, I'm going to give you a quick tip for boosting your resume as a junior software developer. Let's cue the intro. Okay, so if you're a junior developer and you're looking for ways to boost your CV, one of the best things that you can do in that regard is to contribute to open source software projects. Now, this has a number of advantages over other kinds of projects that you could do. Number one is that usually with open source projects, these are real projects with real users. So it's a bit more realistic than some of these projects that you might have done at your code bootcamp or at school or even your own side project. Is that this one will be used by, lots and lots of real people. The number two advantage is that when your contribution has been accepted into such a project, this means that senior, experienced developers actually thought that your code was good enough to merge into their projects. So that's just another, seal of approval, some sort of peer review that shows that your code abilities are actually very good. So, companies are going to actually look at this in very good light. So I think this is one of the reasons why contributing to software project is such a great idea. Now, you might be asking yourself, what if I'm not yet good enough at programming to contribute to a project? So you can contribute in other ways that aren't necessarily writing code. For instance, you can help improve a project's documentation. And now there will always be a huge need for this, as documentation usually lags behind new features in any given project. So that also begs the question, where do you find an open source project to contribute to? Well, that's where this video comes in. I would advise you to contribute to software projects that you already use personally. That way, it's something that is familiar and something that you already have an interest in. So, for example, you could contribute to your code editor. I use VS Code, for example. There's also Atom and Sublime Text, which are open source projects. So you could actually contribute to those. You could also contribute to your web browser. We have great projects that are open source like Firefox and Brave, and all kinds of other software that you use on an everyday basis. So let's take a look at some beginner-friendly open source projects. If you check the description, you'll find a link that you can click to, which is the subject of this video. Okay, so clicking on that link leads us to this GitHub repository, which has awesome first pull request opportunities. And in the table of contents, you can see there's a large number of different programming languages. So regardless of which language is your preference, you're bound to find something here that you could contribute to. Now let's take a look at Dot, for example. So under the Dot programming language, we have the dot.dev website, which is a website covering the Dot language and common libraries. So if you wanted to contribute to that, let's open the link. And when that link opens, we can see the Dot website repository, and it has 9 open issues that have the label beginner, which means that they are beginner friendly. So you can actually find something that is up to your own skill level. So for example, here there's an open issue for fixing CSS for external links so that punctuation can be outside the link. So this is something that you can do with relatively little experience, and it'll go a long way in beefing up your resume. So let's go back up and check out another example. For example, if you wanted something in PHP, you can find here we have PHP My Admin. So if you've done any meaningful website development using PHP, you'll be very familiar with PHP My Admin. And in the PHP My Admin project, we have 13 open issues that have the label newbie. So you can actually find something that is easy enough for you to contribute to. Let's go back to the table of contents and let's look for TypeScript. And under TypeScript, you can see we have Visual Studio Code. So Visual Studio Code is my favorite code editor, and it has 30 open issues that are labeled as good for your first issue. So using this beginner's guide to contributing pull requests, you can easily find a project that you can contribute to, and it's going to help build your profile as a junior developer. Now, in addition to contributing to software projects, of course, you want to have your own side projects. You want to also contribute in terms of answering questions on a website like Stack Overflow and many other things that you can do to build up your skill level and to build up your profile as a software developer. Thank you for watching this video. If you liked it and would like to support me create more great content, please head over to patreon.com/codeswag. And for as little as $1, you can help me produce more awesome tutorials. As a Patreon, you also enjoy many great benefits, such as early access to my latest videos weeks before I put them on YouTube. You get to vote on the topic of the next tutorial, and you can also get help with debugging if you run into any issues while following the tutorials. This in addition to many other great benefits. So once again, head over to patreon.com/codeswag and support me to create more awesome tutorials for you.